What's up guys, thanks for tuning in on today's video. I'm Gabe and today I'm going to be doing a updated mod list on my 2010 Camaro SS. Here we have the 2010 Camaro SS, which is very famous to the channel. For all my new viewers, you'll notice that this is very heavily inspired by the Camaro Z28, the 5th generation post-refresh Z28, and I decided to really use that as an inspiration to make this somewhat of a OEM plus type of build. Before we go ahead and get into the details, I just want to make an announcement that I will be now making videos en español. So all my Spanish speaking car enthusiasts, that is a place where you guys can watch my videos in Spanish in depth. I'm just very excited to be able to offer that to you guys. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the actual mod list showing on this car. Okay, so first off, we're gonna go over what are some of the performance modifications and engine modifications to this car, which really not much has changed since the last time I've done this video. But for all my new returning or new audience, here is the glorious 6.2 liter LS3 engine. Not really much motor work has been done to it. So I think the first most notable thing about the engine bay definitely has to be these painted coil packs in yellow. That you'll see that yellow and blue is a theme that I'm going to be using very frequently with this car. That doesn't really enhance any sort of performance output, just makes the engine bay just look a little bit more unique, more sporty, more high-end, if you will. Over here we have the VARAM cold air intake, which has a very unique design, kind of makes it look like a, again, high performance engine bay setup, very flushed as well. I really never liked it how the factory intakes would always be right here and look very ugly, but this is very nice in design. Obviously at higher RPMs and higher speeds, you will notice that this becomes more and more functional as the air flows into this grille and feeds it into the engine. Very nice design. I will say though that it is kind of on the expensive side of things. There are many options when it comes to cold air intakes. Also, the installation process isn't necessarily the most user-friendly. If you're ever thinking about upgrading a radiator, which is what I did here with my Champion Motorsport radiator, it's a lot bigger, so it allows for more cooling. This VARAM intake doesn't necessarily go very well with this just because of the size and the design of it. But nonetheless, it still has worked for me. This is the no-tune version. I strongly recommend you guys get the tune version if you ever decide to make more than 450 crank horsepower, which is very easy to do with these cars, especially with the setup that I have. Down here, you can see these beautiful Texas Speed 1 7/8 headers. And let me tell you guys something, that definitely has to be one of the best mods I could ever do to this car. I mean, it is ridiculous how great the car has sound after the modification. I strongly recommend for performance and for driving experience, get the headers. They are definitely not a cheap modification to do, but something that I think every single build, Camaro build, should have it, whether you are looking to make extreme drag or extreme high horsepower numbers, or just taking it on a nice weekend cruise. I mean, it's gonna make a huge difference. Now, another thing that I've done to the car that is somewhat of a testament to the OEM plus build that I'm trying to accomplish is gonna be over here, where I divorced the brake fluid and the clutch fluid reservoir. All I did was basically segregate them so the heat from the brakes doesn't affect the clutch performance, because the clutch tends to stick very frequently with these 5th generation Camaros. And then lastly, to wrap it all off, my good friend Daniel ruined Z06 back when he was working and collaborating with Project A, did a pops and bangs tune on this car, which you guys will see as we drive the car, just how ridiculous the pops are. Mind you, this is also a straight piped car, so it's long tube headers up front, Texas Speed long tube headers, then it flows all the way to high flow catalytic converters by Texas Speed, then it'll go to a Flowmaster X pipe, and from there it'll go basically all the way to the tips that I'll show you guys in a moment, and those are all 3-inch pipes. Now, in terms of horsepower, I'm not too sure as to what this car makes. I wouldn't be surprised if this is reaching the 450 crank horsepower, maybe even 440 to be more conservative. The pops and bangs tunes, not really sure what that gave it. But overall, we can't really fact check what this car makes because I haven't taken it to the dyno yet. 450 horsepower, not all that impressive nowadays, but for me, it suffices, and it's done pretty well with some competitors. You guys can check out the multiple videos that I've done up here where I raced Mustang GTs, pretty much the direct competitors to the Camaro SS and more. So now that we finished talking a little bit about some of the modifications in the motor, let's take a look at this part up here, which is actually a legitimate heat extractor mod, which will show you guys how it looks like from the outside if you haven't seen it already. Fully functional, allows for all of the unnecessary heat from the engine bay to escape, no water tray, fully functional, really cool mod, not only for performance, but also for aesthetics. Looks absolutely aggressive, looks a little bit more modern as well, since this was standard on all of the upgraded, refreshed 5th generation Camaros. So from the front of the car, you'll notice that this again has a lot of strong resemblance to the 5th generation Camaro Z28. Down here, we have the ZL1 grille, which looks incredible. The standard SS is actually vertical. This is horizontal. It just matches and makes it look a lot more refreshed and new. Over here on the headlights, I actually gave it a tint. These are about 25% tints. I didn't really want to make it too dark because I don't think it looks that great. And of course, I didn't want to compromise the drivability at night. Down here, we have a fog light delete, which very unique to my build. I really haven't seen too many people do this modification. I think it makes the car just look so much more aggressive, so much more unique, so much more track focused. And of course, we can't miss this gigantic Z28 splitter down here that I think is really what sells it on the Z28 style look. I mean, this thing is just enormous. Not only does this give the car an extension outside, but it also drops the car a little bit lower, which we'll talk about in a moment here, but looks incredible. I did paint it in gloss black. It needs to be retouched a little bit. If you guys already noticed, this car has a lot of imperfections up front. I mean, that's what 6 years of ownership, no garage queen kept status. Even though that is somewhat prideful to say that I drive this car a lot, still hurts a lot to see the condition that it's in, because it could be a lot better. But as we moved more towards the side now, and I just want to, just from there, I want you guys to focus on just how beautiful this aqua blue metallic color is and how it really changes the look of it depending on where the sunlight hits it. You know, down here it looks like a very standard purplish blue, but then when the flakes start to receive some of that sunlight, you do get a hint of that, you know, aqua, green, yellow, bluish type of color, which is why I actually went with this yellow accents over here and down here as well. You'll notice that these yellow brake calipers that are painted are right behind these very nice Z28 style imitation wheels. These aren't the original ones. The original ones are actually 19-inch wheels and very limiting to what tires you can get, and also very, very expensive. These are 20 by 10s up front and 20 by 10s in the back, so it's a box setup. The tires up front are 285 35 20s, so these are pretty meaty tires for the up front, and in the back we have 305 35 20s. We'll show you guys how that looks like in a moment, but I absolutely love these wheels. It really encapsulated that Z28 style look, making these brake calipers, these stock Brembo brake calipers, which is another reason why I absolutely love the 5th generation Camaro. Standard, they came with Brembos. Also, the yellow, again, goes very nicely, contrasts perfectly with that black and blue color. The side profile is just incredible with the Camaro. I've always loved the look of it. Kind of gives it that like mini tank look. And if you guys will notice, this car is actually a little bit lowered. It's about 3/4 of an inch lowered. And what's allowing this to happen are these Megan Racing coilovers, which were actually gifted to me by the cameraman, Bryce.
What's up, guys?
Not only did those coilovers really enhance the driving capabilities and the driving feel of the car, but it also gave this car such a beautiful aesthetic look. Before, you know, we had these massive wheel gaps over here, but now it just feels a little bit more flush. I think it just looks perfect. Not really concerned about lowering it anymore. I think it's at a perfect height right now. Another thing that's very noticeable about the side profile and modifications that I've done to the exterior is going to be these side view mirrors that I actually wrapped them in this gloss black. Looks very, very nice. Combines very nicely with the Z28 style wheels, the splitter, and of course the other components, which we'll cover in a moment. Right now, the windows are tinted, and again, 15%. They look a little bit darker for 15%, but you know, that's what I have. Again, tinted windows, something you gotta have on any car that you do, whether it's a sports car or not sports car. Down here, we have the same setup as the front one, 20x10s, yellow caliper, Brembo brakes, but you can actually take a moment to appreciate just how girthy this tire is, 305s. And I think 305s is really the comfortable measurement that you really want to go on these 20x10s. These are obviously tires that I have to change ASAP, Rocky.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, I know, guys, I know. I'm super lazy, but nonetheless, excuses. Let's keep going. Here in the back, we have the Z28 style spoiler with the Z28 style Wicker-bill extension. This is an absolute giant of a spoiler. Not a big fan of the wing, especially on Camaros, but this spoiler looks just incredible. I absolutely love it. It's a lot bigger in size and dimensions than the factory 5th generation Z28. It gives it that track feel. I do need to replace this at some point because this is already fogging up and getting yellow. And I do have to clean this inside part here. Down here we have these very nice Oracle HID LED taillights. That was a modification that really gave it a more modern, refreshed look. I mean, just look at them from a distance. I mean, it makes the car look completely new and just a little bit more retro in a way. These taillights are actually tinted. You may not be able to notice it because of the lights being on, but these are 5% tints, which is RIP for everybody behind me. Not only are these taillights tinted, but they're also complemented with these gloss black taillight bezels, which, if you guys remember seeing my last video, I was like, oh, I really like the chrome. The chrome looks nice. I might keep the chrome. And then I realized that, no, you really gotta de-chrome it if you really want the car to look just more aggressive. And then the last component that we have back here, which is actually the most recent modification, is going to be this quad tip diffuser, which is actually from the factory. And these quad tip exhausts that are actually 4 inches on the outlet, which are just enormous. And they're very flush, as you can see. They match the diffuser very nicely. Sometimes I see people have the exhaust stick out, and I don't really know if that's an installation thing or the one that they bought, but Frank from Frank Muffler Shop installed it, made an excellent job with it. I think it really, you know, transformed the look of the car, the rear part of the car, incredibly. And again, OEM plus type of look. And that's basically what this whole car is. A Z28 OEM style exterior look. All right, now we are inside the interior of the car, which is something that I just recently started modifying. First thing that I did to the build in the interior that I'm gonna count it as is this upgraded key fob. You guys definitely have to check it out. These have a really shitty quality key fob from the factory, and this is just a great way of replacing that. So really inside, there's not much going on. I think the most obvious modifications that I've done to the car are gonna be, first of all, these very nice Recaro seats. These are incredibly comfortable, very stylish. I actually love it how these Recaro seats from the 5th generation allow for the 5-point harnesses to pass through here through this little insert section here, which I've painted in this very nice yellow color, which is actually something that I actually haven't seen another 5th generation Camaro build do, so I definitely have to be one of the first. I absolutely love how the design of it looks. I love the Alcantara suede feel and the material matching with the leather. Looks absolutely incredible. The shifter here is an Alcantara Z28 style shifter with the Z28 style Alcantara boot. Also, there is an MGW short throw shifter here, which really changed the feel of how this car shifts. I'll talk about it more when we drive the car, but crazy modification that I can't believe I waited so long to do. These two right here are the biggest modifications that I've done to the interior. The rest of it is just very small miscellaneous things. Like for example, the handbrake cover here has like this pseudo carbon fiber film or casket to it. Over here the cup holders are in this carbon fiber look and finish. The center lid console here is wrapped in this Alcantara suede material, which again combines with the material of the seats and the shifter here. And up here in the dashboard trim, I have it in a carbon fiber imitation film. I think these two were a little bit excessive with my build. I didn't want to overdo it with the carbon fiber look. I have these floor mats that are stitched with the SS badging, and I think it's just like the little last chef kiss to the interior. Oh, and I forgot to mention one more modification that really brought the interior to life aside from all of these other modifications that we just covered, and it's going to be shown right here. As you guys can see, I have these Govee LED car lights that are installed in the footwell, and it just looks really nice. I had to really go into an area that was a little bit darker for you guys to appreciate it. You can actually change the color. I have an entire video about installing them and going through all of the cool features of these lights, but overall they just enhance the driving vibe at night and just makes the experience so much more enjoyable. Alrighty, so now that we've talked about some of the exterior components and the interior components, I've showed you guys what I've done to the motor, to the performance aspect of the car. I want to show you guys what this car sounds like. Headphone users, beware. So enough playing around, we'll go ahead and start taking it a little bit more subtle, which you really can be with this car. I mean, there's literally so many things going on with this car, considering that this has an abundance of modifications done to the car. This really nice blue color that, again, you can't be very discreet. And of course, the the very loud and bombastic exhaust. Oh, we got a tunnel right here. Cover your ears, boys. Oh my God, that is ridiculous. Short throw shifter. I mean, Bryce was just telling me, because I just let him drive it, and I do have to concur with him. I mean, this modification really does make the car feel less flimsy and more, you know, more sturdy, more built. Here we have the coilovers in action, and again, super precise. I can't even remotely express how thunderous the exhaust sounds. I mean, it's just incredible. The straight pipe, okay, maybe a little bit over the top, but the headers, I mean, I strongly recommend you do it, guys. You just can't get tired of those sounds, man. I'm literally laughing every single bit of this video because of how exciting the exhaust feels. These seats, these Recaro seats, that they just feel so incredible. incredible. For these really long drives, these are ridiculously comfortable, and the lumbar support is great. It's not too invasive. It's very forgiving. For performance bucket seats, these are extremely comfortable and they do the job really well. The coilovers, even on the roughest suspension option, the dampers feel just incredible. And again, it's not that ridiculous. I mean, if I would have probably done springs, I think it would have been a completely different story. And obviously you guys can hear through the inside that the drone is very minimal, especially with the straight pipe setup that we have here. Only do you realize that you're in a straight pipe car when you really want to. Let's get a little downshift for the folks back home. It's like, it feels really gated, and I just can't emphasize that enough. Well guys, there you have it. That is my full mod walk around, and of course you guys got to see a little bit about how this car sounds on the road. It's absolutely insane when you straight pipe a V8 muscle car. Sounds incredible. Guys, if you found this video informative and entertaining, don't forget to hit the like button. Helps out tremendously for the ego and for the algorithm. Guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you enjoy videos like this. Guys, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. If you guys want to learn more about how this car has treated me for the first 100,000 miles, go ahead and check out the video here. And if you guys have any other questions of the car, please feel free to reach out to me at my Instagram page. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.